You opinion, you know me, I short everything. But yes, shorts and video, and I'll drop some game porn later on.
Do so at your own peril.
Yeah, and that's why I said through quarter three. Do it through November.
Oracle is the other one I've seen people talking about. I think they have earnings today.
I got one play, and that's Lucid Puts, because their car caught on fire over the weekend at a demo. So that's my play.
Is that a short play or long-term play?
Just a short play.
Yeah, I could expect
what happens, today, tomorrow. So I'll probably do like Wednesday.
Small drop from that is probably expected.
I saw someone in the chat ask about CPI. That's not until tomorrow. Everything, if you notice though, I know this is a stock space, but we are in it for something. Because if you look at all the news, all the meetings are happening on June 13th, like the crypto shit, CPI, more stuff about the whole Trump thing. Like something's gonna get fucked this week.
What's the next FOMC meeting? Oh, let's see here.
Well, crypto is falling drastically. It hasn't happened in a little while now.
Is that because what's happening to the Coinbase and Binance?
I don't know. He's talking about something's coming up, and I think maybe something is coming up. We'll see what goes on. But I don't think it was just those two things, because everything is moving down, 13%, 10%, 16%. I mean, major drops. Not everything, but mostly what I'm looking at.
And I did see there was a correlation between SPY and Bitcoin. Like back in March when Bitcoin took a tumble, SPY did as well. So I'm curious if this is going to affect the equity markets as well.
Well, what might affect the equity markets is the next FOMC meeting is starting tomorrow, 13th to the 14th.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting week.
So we might see some volatility there, depending on if we increase rates by 25 or if we're pausing.
What predictions do you guys have?
I think we're pausing. Because Jay Powell keeps talking, he doesn't want to surprise the markets. So he's going to do whatever it is they're predicting. Bitcoin saying 25? Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be either 0.25 or 0.
Here's a strange long-term AI play. I may be overboard, I don't know, but Microsoft is really making it easy for the common person to get on to AI and chat. So I think in the long-term AI, Microsoft's going to pull a big piece of that.
I was with a mortgage broker this weekend, and we were talking, and he was telling me for the rate to go down come Tuesday. Even though I think it's going to be a rate hike, 0.25, he said look for the rate to go down. So I don't know if I trust it, but that's just what he said.
Why would he say that? He's predicting in one day the rates are just gonna go down. Did he say anything? Why? Did he say why?
One second.
He just sounds like a real estate agent trying to get a sale and tell you whatever he thinks will get you to finance.
He's not a real estate agent. He owns his own mortgage company. Like I use him. That's what I'm telling you. He's not a real estate agent.
Oh, that's even worse.
I got you.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
I
he's
do
just
agree
trying
with-
to get you locked into a mortgage.
I do agree with you. Become a weapon when you said they're calling it a skip. Yeah, I think they're calling it a skip because they don't want to admit it's a pause.
Opinion, is there any stocks we aren't allowed to talk about? This is my first time being back on the talk in months. Is there any? I know about the market caps, but are we
The
still
market cap
anti?
doesn't
I know
doesn't
about
really
the market
apply here.
cap. Okay, I know about the. So market cap doesn't apply anymore.
No, not on the talks. So, but like, just don't pump any penny stocks.
Oh yeah, I got you. What about the AMC GME shit? Are we still not allowed to talk about that?
I mean, you can, but
You got a
if
plan on
there's
that? Sure.
yeah,
You got a plan?
we've
Yeah.
been talking about it, so feel free.
Okay. What's your plan?
Yeah. For the small money people, because I once was one. I got 2-week puts on GME. I'll type it in the comments.
Yeah, and people like Hardy have been playing the volatility on GME and doing straddles and stuff like that around earnings. So
Somebody saying, "Is that Tuesday fly?"
oh yeah, maybe. Everybody misses him.
Hey, this chat not as active as the one that used to be on Reddit. What happened? I've been out for a couple months. Opinion. What happened?
Invite your friends. Get more people. We got 200 in the audience right now, and this is fairly new, so I think it's just going to slowly build up steam.
I know, but may I ask why the talks left Reddit?
Reddit canceled them, so they can't afford to do it anymore.
The company that was providing the voice services for Reddit wanted to get paid more, and Reddit said no. So the company cut them off. What was the name of that company? Twilio or something like that, or
Yeah, Twilio.
Twilio. So
Find
Twilio cut
out.
Reddit off, so there were no more talks.
Yeah, find out if they're not IPO'd or whoever they IPO'd by. Short the fuck out of them.
They have a stock. I forgot the ticker though.
TWLO.
Oh, TWLO.
Thank y'all, fellas. I'm about to go put some puts on it right now. When the market open.
Yeah.
45 minutes.
I'll tell you what, they're about to hit an all-time high if you're gonna buy puts. They would be cheap.
Especially when the VIX is this low. Right, PP?
If the VIX, generally speaking, since the VIX is this low, buying options would be beneficial overall to option buyers. Oh, Cat's mom is on. Hello, Cat's mom.
Anyone needs some less riskier plays? Let me know.
Yeah, I'm all
I
into
guess.
those boomer plays. So
By less risky play, do you mean what do you mean? Which stocks are we talking about here?
I got torn apart on my Campbell's play.
Eyes of the Valley saying Tupperware.
Yeah, Tupperware. He came on one
That's
day and
a safe. That's a safe bet right there.
So I had just recently talking to some of my other buddies who invest, but they have the buffered approach, and they told me to buy some SHV, and I got a 6%, like almost 6% return on my money last month. They did a monthly payout from the dividend. So it's just the short term treasures for all of you that are confused. The ticker is SHV.
So I'm into a pretty safe play, I think. So right now you can buy Boyle. That's the natural gas ETF, Bravo, Oscar, India, Lima. Right now you can buy Boyle for around $2.50 a share. And then you can turn around and sell a block of 100, sell a covered call on a block of 100 shares out to January 2024 at a $5 strike, which is 100% gain on the price of the stock for 50 cents a share. So the whole contract would be $50. So you're getting a $50 premium on spending $250. So that's an instant 20% return, or more than a 20% return if you annualize it on Boyle shares. And starting after June, you're probably going to see the price of Boyle start heading up in preparation for companies putting in their orders for the upcoming winter season. So I mean, 20% on those I think is plus if the strike price does hit $5 a share, then you're getting 100% return on your shares. If you want, you can go out even further. You can go out to like $9 and still get a decent return on the premium for the covered calls.
So, Genome, on that one, would you be looking at buying the shares and then selling the covered calls right away? Or buying the shares, sitting on them a little while, and then hope the price moves up some so you can collect more premium on the $5 strike?
I bought them, and I mean, 20% return. I just went ahead and bought the shares and called and sold the covered calls. Because, I mean, to me, it's, you know, like if it doesn't hit $5 a share, I'm getting a 20% return, and I'll just wash, rinse, and repeat. If it does hit $5 a share, I have no problem letting go of the shares.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that one.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm like I don't see any real big threat on that one, but that's just me. Maybe I'm missing something.
Gotcha. No, that's pretty sensible play. I will take a look at that one. Thank you.
Anybody have a cryptocurrency play with the new SEC regulations coming on? Or well, with whatever the SEC is doing?
I bought pretty heavily into, like, I've been swing trading Litecoin pretty successfully for the past few months, and I bought in heavily at the dip. I got a bunch of Litecoin at $75 a coin. It hasn't been that low in a while, so I'm looking at it as a gift. What the SEC is doing is they're basically cracking down on Coinbase for some of there were 4 named currencies that could be considered securities, and Bitcoin and Litecoin are not among those. So the SEC doesn't so much have an issue with Bitcoin and Litecoin per se. They have an issue with what Coinbase did with Matic and some of the other ones that were listed in the lawsuit against Coinbase, because they can be construed as securities. So there's this dip in Litecoin. I look at it as a gift. Like I said, the price hasn't been at $75 in quite a while. So when it went down, I bought in pretty heavily because I'm confident that it's just a temporary dip and it'll probably go back up. Plus the Litecoin halving is coming up in about 60 to 90 days or something like that. But it's in the near term, and that's probably going to pump the price somewhat. So I'm not concerned with the SEC stuff regarding Coinbase and Bitcoin and Litecoin. And I think Coinbase is going to come out of this. I think they're going to come out of this pretty good. They just have to comply with the laws, the SEC laws and the laws of the states for selling securities. And I think they'll be okay.
The issue, right? The SEC is not being very specific as to what the law is.
And the issue with the coins that they mentioned is that there are companies, organizations behind those coins. With Litecoin and Bitcoin, there really is no CEO. They're true decentralized cryptocurrencies because there's no corporate structure behind them. So there's no way to classify those as securities because there's no organizational structure that you're buying into. With Matic and the other ones that are listed in the lawsuit, there are organizations behind those. They have people that are managing it and everything like that. So it is more like a security than some of the other coins. So it's and securities law is pretty straightforward in that regard.
Well, I think maybe we're downplaying it just a little bit. As you guys know, I don't play crypto. But I will say from a legal standpoint, it's interesting that Crypto.com is no longer servicing institutional clients in the United States starting June 21st. And that's just around the corner. We do have Binance CEO missing. And let's not forget that Coinbase, obviously the CEO has been, selling his stock, which has been for quite some time, respectively. But, he keeps selling it. And I haven't done the comparison whether or not he's selling more now versus before. But it's the fact that, this is going to hurt crypto. Let's try to downplay it where it's like, oh, it's a winter sale. I think there's a lot of speculation in regards to what the SEC is going to label this as. Before they said it's not an asset, it didn't have the same fundamentally structure of an asset, all those things. And the fact that they are saying now that this has legs of a tangible, tradable asset that they could technically, call a commodity at the end of the day, should be quite frightening to a lot of people. Obviously, some regulation will come in and care for this, and I think we need to take that into consideration.
The SEC doesn't have authority over commodities or assets. The SEC has authority over
right. They have over the exchanges.
Securities.
No, they can make laws towards Americans, for example, that say like you're not allowed to play in these financial exchanges. Just like the
SEC can't. No, the SEC can't do that. The SEC
they actually can. Yes, they can. You cannot play in our backyard. I would kindly ask you to. No, I would kindly ask you to brush up on your law.
The SEC does not have the right. The SEC does not have the authority to make laws. That's Congress has the authority to make laws.
Which the right hand man is Congress.
The SEC has clearly defined laws that have been created by Congress that they have to follow. The SEC can't just
they
make
can
up
create
laws
federal regulations that if you don't follow those regulations, you can spend the rest of your life in prison. There are thousands of quote-unquote federal laws that actually were not passed by Congress.
I think the argument is
clearly through regulatory power.
So far the IRS has come out and said that Bitcoin, at least, and the others like it, are just like any other asset. Someone else, I think the CBOE even came out and they said that crypto is a commodity. And now the SEC wants to come out and they want to claim dominance over these specific named. They haven't named Bitcoin and the other cryptos in their lawsuit against Coinbase. So that's another important thing to keep in mind, is that the media is trying to portray this as an attack on crypto overall. But if you look at the lawsuit itself, it's not an attack on crypto overall. It's an attack on specific cryptos that can be considered securities, because there are companies that are behind them, just like a regular security, like stock in Apple or stock in Microsoft. There are companies behind these tokens that we name. And let's not make up things that aren't there. I mean, I'm looking at the lawsuit.
I'm not at all. I'm literally stating to you that they have control. And I'll just keep it very simple. I'm not here to argue. Just keeping it simple. Just keeping it fact. And that fact is, if you are doing business in America and you're utilizing American money, that is under the Securities and Exchange Commission, right? And we could even say the FTC, if you want to get that technical. Yes, because it is an asset.
The Treasury. The dollar is under the auspices of the Treasury, not the SEC.
I'm not talking about the dollar. I'm talking about citizens.
You just said the U.S. dollar.
I did not. Please correct me if I'm wrong. If I said dollar, I did not say dollar. I literally said the FTC and the SEC. Okay, well,
Americans using dollars.
Here's some Q-tips. Let me just explain it again. What I was trying to explain was this: is that at the end of the day, this was never an asset, and I'll agree with you with that 100%. We could say even our little buddy, what's his name, the Gensler guy, right? He always said, well, I'm not sure about Bitcoin. It's, decentralized blockchain, blah, 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 right? He even did a lecture on it and taught his whole class as a professor on right? Board to get to ahead of all this. Essentially what I'm trying to communicate at the end of the day is that if you are a business in America, the government can own you, just like in any other country, right? And when you start taking from the pockets of consumers, meaning they're putting their investment
the government
Can I just finish? Can I just finish? If a citizen, no matter what country you're in, right, your government has your back. When it comes down to you're putting your money into some company and they're taking that money from you. Like most country governments have your back, right, for the most part. And so what it's coming down to, in my personal opinion, right, is that what will happen is there will be regulation on these companies, bottom line, because they're taking too much money. People are too speculative on this asset called Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, if you want to call it. And the fact that there's speculation is enough at the end of the day for the SEC to come in and say, yes, it is part of Securities and Exchange Commission, because every ETF, option, bond, et cetera, that you buy is a speculation. And I thank you for much.
Anyone have plays? We got a half hour till market opens. Cool.
Yes, I'm looking at Trip. Trip, as you guys know, is like Trip.com. Hong Kong had a good little pushback, little speculative of Wednesday's Fed, information, if you may. And so Hong Kong kind of slowed down the brakes on some stocks, but some stocks that did stick out were Budweiser and Trip. So I'm assuming that might pass on over here. So maybe we might see something in trouble. So I'm looking at Trip and Budweiser. I do hear some speculation that SPY is going to maybe, since it's already resisted its all-time high, that there'll be some, I guess you would say, downward movement within some respects. But I'm not sure if I want to believe in that, because of the fact that speculation seems to always be there, and then I get ran over every time I play the put side. So kind of playing 50-50 on that. But yeah.
That's good. Good luck. I mentioned Adobe when the talk first opened. I don't know if anyone else is doing calls, but I keep hearing puts in the stock chat here.
So I think I saw somebody with NVIDIA puts again, second person. Just trying to see why NVIDIA.
Oh yeah.
Why NVIDIA? They've been on a.
Is it overbought?
I have no idea. Maybe they have a case.
State your case.
Because they hate money. Who knows? Who knows?
I remember, Genome, you said you're bullish long term on NVIDIA even at these prices, right?
Yes.
Do you
But
think
I'm,
short term there'll be some volatility though?
Always. There's going to be. I think the big thing is going to be the next quarter when they report. Right. Last time they reported, they announced their grand strategy with from hardware to software to services, all that kind of stuff. The next earnings report, they're going to have to deliver on that and see how the market's reacting to what they announced. So yeah, I think short term there's going to be volatility. Long term, I'm still very bullish. On the other hand, on Adobe, I looked at their website, and I guess to me it seems like they're a little bit late to the party. They do want to join the party, but they're a little bit late to the party, and I think they have a little bit of catching up to do to Stable Diffusion and some of the other graphics AIs that are out there.
Well,
so I'm playing puts this time around because I don't think they're going to have spectacular earnings.
Yeah, I agree. I think
I think the
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess my case is that they're late to the party, but they've been a major player in graphic design and editing in general for a long time. So now that they're incorporating artificial intelligence and already have a name for themselves, it's kind of like how Rivian, they had a electric truck, but even though they were first to the game, Ford came out with theirs. So I mean that's competition from an existing player. So it might be something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, they were already established, and
I think you got
doing that well
caught
with
in the
that truck,
matrix.
yeah. And
you could have.
Hang on a second. Let me see if I can switch to a different network.
I can say that Human Genome does have a point. Adobe is a tricky play at the end of the day. And the new designers coming out will maybe want to essentially say, I just want to type, and I just want to know that I can say, give me this kind of photo filter or this kind of effect, and boom, it's done, rather than trying to drag and drop and you do all the fancy stuff. And I get, and I've seen the protocols where, you had a landscape change and stuff like that. That's technically been around forever within some respects. And most LLMs have been able to do that within seconds. I do think that they do. What was weird for me at the end of the day, and I'll just say that because it's been a minute since I've been on here. And I do apologize, Ryler, for not coming on here before to talk about AI, but I just felt like I didn't want to put my 2 cents out there because this is my 2 cents on it. Is these models have been around for such a long time that it's a little disappointing that they come out because they're basically have to show their hand, right? Because they're forced to, because they have so much competition. And so my 2 cents on it is how are they going to keep the market share that they currently have, bring in new market share, because that's most important, right? You want to tackle on the new people coming in, right? That's the most important thing. But more importantly, how are you going to compete head to toe with these large language models that are essentially doing what you could already do, but also more within some respects, right? Do I want to drag and drop, or do I want to just? And I think it's coming down to one of those things where time would be the proof in the pudding. But I digress.
Well, that's true too. I mean, I have a $10 phone app that can change the background and edit photos. I can create memes in 2 seconds using some really cheap apps on my phone. So do I need Adobe to do that? But I guess it's mostly for professionals. So I guess it's to be seen.
Yeah, I think we
really
already
have tremendous.
Oh,
they already have tremendous market penetration with the professionals, and they've always had. I mean, they're the leader they're the leader in their field, no question. I mean, I subscribe to the Adobe suite myself. I mean, it's a great product, but it's all about how are they going to generate additional revenue with AI in the face of the competition? Because what Adobe's competitive advantage has always been is that there's a tremendous amount of capital required to come out with a new software application like what Adobe had. Now with AI, you no longer have that capital requirement to do that. All you need is an AI that will generate the artwork for you. And I think for Adobe, it's going to be a huge
robotic
challenge.
network you switched to. It's not coming in that great.
I was sounding fine on my end, so I don't know if anyone else is hearing that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a great point from both sides, because I mean, I'm on the fence buying calls, but I've been burned on earnings plays like the past few weeks, so I don't know if I should try again.
Can you say now
and
that Adobe is like what Zoom is for the office place? Their only target market is pretty much corporations and other companies.
Well, yes and no, and I don't mean to chime in here. I just wanted to say, Consku, excuse me. You said it's used for sales and marketing, especially installing tags and pixels on websites. They have this thing called Canva that's been out for a minute, right? As far as I'm concerned, it seemed like all the marketing, stupid design stuff has gone to Canva. In regards to pixels, I mean, technically Google has that within some respects as well, and is teaming up with some of these graphic design companies that have tools and trying to chime their Google Analytics into it. So I don't know if I'd buy that story at the end of the day, and that's all I want to say. Sorry.
I see. Okay.
Elliot, I was saying earlier that I needed to thank you for getting me into that Firefly beta, because I was able to use the Adobe products before anybody else. So thanks for that, man. You added me to that Discord a while back. It's pretty dope.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Oh yeah, and I keep forgetting that we have the rate hike info coming out this week, so that's going to probably affect the earnings.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish we had someone who could tackle that down a little bit in the room here. That'd be awesome, because I'm a little confused on like whether or not we should put all our eggs on the suspense of it, or if it's kind of priced in, because it almost feels like it's priced in within some respects. Like they can't really predict where the future is going to go. This noise, with I guess you say sectors, kind of, figuring out like how they're going to stay alive within some respects. We could blame it on AI. We could also blame it on the average employee that's requiring a certain salary, and the business is like, I don't want to pay that salary, while also tackling on this. Hey, maybe at home is not as great as we thought it was, and we need everyone to come back to the office, right? But yeah.
Yeah, the whole priced in thing I always tend to believe in, and then whenever the day comes, like, it's just a roller coaster.
Yeah, and if anyone could chime in, I don't know what it's like with boots on the ground in your sector or where you're working, maybe. I'm just curious, like, is there the people that got laid off, did they find jobs right away? What's their motivation to go find another job? Obviously, we got to pay the bills, but are they disappointed in their opportunities? Like, how is it? How's the realistic world out there?
So I'm in the design field for building new hospital projects, and that has not slowed down at all. And because of that, it's also, since they're building and renovating new hospitals, it's creating jobs for doctors, nurses, staff, like everybody. And so I even though I might be biased, I'm always long on the healthcare sector. It's currently been pretty flat for like the past year, but when I compared to other, like if you compare like a healthcare sector to like tech, it hasn't gone down. So like when I think the NASDAQ dropped like 35%, the healthcare sector stayed just flat. So even though it might not be ready to moon yet, it's something that I'm always long on. But other industries, I'm not so sure what's like you said, the boots on the ground thing.
For me, being in the accounting field, it hasn't slowed. I mean, yeah, it hasn't slowed down. We've had one or two accounts that left and immediately found a job. So I don't see any slowdown so far on that field.
All right, interesting enough. I know that there was some speculation whether or not ChatGPT could do accounting. Did read that it wasn't as good as an accountant. And then in regards to the graphic design space,
it depends on the job sector, right? Yeah. ChatGPT replacing that. Because, like, for example, you can't replace an attorney. An attorney can use it to draft up documents or filings. But when it comes down to actually doing the job, obviously ChatGPT, I don't know if it's usable in that department. Same thing with accounting. Straightforward accounting, yeah, I think ChatGPT can do that, no problem. But when it comes to reconciling, finding issues, storing things, there's a lot of things ChatGPT can't do because it requires human intervention.
Right.
For some of the functions.
Yeah, and the reality is, like, especially if you're looking for, I guess you would say, looking for loopholes or like different bespoke solutions within that sector, that's something that you really have to like talk to it the whole time. And it's like, well, you could just use me. You know what I mean?
I do.
I mean, not me, but you.
For accounting, I don't do taxes for other people.
Did you say taxes?
Same thing is, I don't do taxes for individuals. I'm a corporate accountant.
Oh, okay. Like okay. Like the big three kind of thing?
No, like for my company, we run a large insurance company, so I'm the accountant for my company pretty much.
Okay. And do you find that your risk analysis models are pretty much intellectual property and something that you wouldn't want to even to give to a large language model?
No, we don't get that's in-house. We don't export that out to any party.
Okay, cool.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hey, any of y'all got any ideas why the whole solar industry has dropped dramatically from EMPH to First Solar? All those stocks that I'm holding are just going down by the day. And I'm not sure what news came out other than good news about the Solar Act. So just seeing if anybody has any insight on that one.
I think it's a lot of variables. But nice name, by the way. So I think it's a lot of variables.
It's very fitting. Very fitting.
I think one of them is the financing. Solar is, I think, requires a lot. Well, when you say solar, do you mean like installing solar panels on people's homes, or?
Well, no, I'm just talking about the big companies. Like I said, I got a lot of shares for long on EMPH and First Solar and so on and so forth. And for the past couple weeks, even though there's billions of dollars that Congress has, more
Look
free
at the
money.
run up from
companies.
2020 I just posted in the chat. So the solar sector went up like exponentially until 2021, and it's been on the decline ever since then. I'm just assuming it's mean reversion because it was, it's the companies if the sales aren't meeting the expectations, then that's going to reflect in the price of the stocks.
Well, they've been on the run up, but also, just recently, a little over a year and a half, I guess now it's been, but it's kind of coming to fruition now, is when they did the whole, Green New Deal, basically, and solar was on the list for companies to pretty much siphon multi-millions of dollars into their company from the free money fed. So they should be pulling in more money. They should be the stocks should be going up.
They need so companies like that typically rely on debt, which is now pretty expensive. So I think that's why I was saying, like, back in 2020 when you had 0% interest rates, those kind of companies were able to like run free, and that might be hitting them now. You were saying something, Ayat?
Oh, I was just gonna say ESG is long dead. I mean, the fact that the valuation models took it away literally a year ago told me a lot, essentially. And the issue really was more of like, we don't want to make an environmental issue and make everyone like cautious about what they're doing while we're trying to like basically iron out COVID, right? And also it was very hard to figure out, like, from a pillar standpoint, like what's the most important environmental thing when we really don't understand this full-heartedly, right? Because you have two competing sides that really, from a sector side of things, slows down innovation. And so I think there was kind of a brakes on that. And I'll take this with a grain of salt, because you never know. They might come out tomorrow and, I'll be like basically saying, oh, I forget what I said. But the reality is, like, that's where we stand today. And in regards to solar, I feel like, just personally speaking, there was a big movement for that, right? Everyone's like, yeah, I got solar in my house. And then they realize like the cost ratio to it, and then replacing it, and just that kind of thing, finding someone to actually replace it. It was one of those things where the logistics side of things wasn't really ironed out at the end of the day. And they really need to come back and think about, like, okay, how can we really service our customer that's already bought from us, and we can like keep selling to them. And then also bills actually tax credits got taken away. And you saw this with Tesla too, like when the tax credit for
exactly.
EVs,
the tax credit
was taken away, and then
guys, I also think we should let Leap and Leopard speak. He knows a lot about the solar sector.
Sure.
Bring it on.
Yeah, guys, the solar stocks are like on fire right now. They're
on
like
fire.
Yeah, I'm not the stocks. I'm sorry.
Mad.
The solar companies, the earnings, the growth and the earnings are like on fire. The stocks, I don't know,
are taking a shit.
But it's kind of like what happened with Tesla, and what happens with these growth nascent technologies is they'll go along, they'll grow, nobody pays attention to them, and then like in 1 year Tesla went up 700%, right? And the solar stocks went up like that too. And then then we had the war, and everybody was like oil stocks, which were great. But in the meantime, solar kept growing, and it's growing like gangbusters right now. And the more you scale it, the cheaper it gets. If you're holding solar stocks, don't dump them, because they're getting ready for another recoil and another big jump up. The companies are making money hand over fist, and they're growing like crazy. So if you look at the fundamentals, it looks very different than by watching the stock for a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, 100%. Because the fundamentals is what I was looking at a while ago. Especially, I went really hard on the EMPH long, and I was like, yeah, this is going to pay off. And then for a while, it kind of bumped up, and then it's just on a slow decline. And I was like, all right.
Because it made a bunch of money at one time, kind of like when Tesla made 700% in a year. That was just crazy, right? But the stock kept growing. Nvidia is doing that now. It's making the stock's going way up. The company's going to have to catch up 5 years from now, but the company's still growing. But the solar stocks are, I mean, they've been flat for a while. So and if we hit this recession and come out of this recession, they're just going to explode. And right now, what am I trying to say? Right now,
so are we?
The earnings reports that are coming up are going to be eye-opening, kind of like what's happening with Tesla right now. They're making all the margins, they're doing all the sales, and the other companies are not. And that's why Tesla's starting to pick up speed again right now. And that's what you're going to see with solar stocks.
What stocks you recommend to put on our watch list to keep track of in the solar sector?
Well, like for one, DQ Solar if you want to risk a little bit of China exposure, it's trading below book value. CSIQ, Canadian Solar, that company's doing really well. The other thing that's going on with solar right now is shipping prices have tanked, and polysilicon and wafer ingot prices have tanked. That means these solar companies are going to be going into the next few quarters with ability to make really high margins or keep dropping the prices. And then the other thing that's happening is as solar and storage get cheaper, the more they scale, and then the more you scale them, the cheaper they get. So they are gonna. I mean, it's traditional disruption S-curve technologies, and right now is the time to be into these stocks. If you hold these stocks for the next 5 years, you're going to make a ton of money on them.
Leapin, do you have any suggestions or recommendations about solar ETFs?
You know, I have TAN, but it doesn't seem to be doing. It kind of just stays the same. So I assume it's going to keep growing because I have quite a chunk in it, and iClean is another one. But I would follow the sector more closely, and look at the stocks and do some research and learn about it, because this is disruptive technology, and it's really going to change the way energy is used. It's going to change geopolitics around energy. It's going to change a lot of things, and it's going to happen fast.
If I can just ask you real quick, Jefferson has a question, which is obviously the elephant in the room, which would be, what new innovations are solar companies doing at this point? And then also to add on to that, when do you think that governments will start actually adopting that? I mean, it's kind of like obvious within some respects if you are in the sector, like how it benefits the consumer, but it's about actually getting the government to actually adopt it, right? To make sense for the consumer.
Well, so yeah, that's a good question. Because what a lot of people are not aware of is that solar is almost the only thing being installed on grids right now. It's already being adopted. So in the last 10 years, the price of solar and storage too kind of went down like 90%. 10 years ago, all the solar you saw was really expensive. Today, without subsidies, it's the cheapest form of new energy. All the grids are installing it. It's almost exclusively the only thing being installed, except for with some wind and storage. So it's already being adopted. Now, what will change is as it continues to get cheaper, it'll get adopted faster and faster. And then to go off a little bit more on what might happen policy-wise is, you guys might have seen that we got a really hot year coming up. Sea surface temperatures are hot. We have an El Nino coming. Climate tends to affect energy policy, and we haven't seen the worst of climate yet. So as in the next couple of years, as we see a worse climate, we're going to see policy flip, especially as more and more people become aware of where solar is now and how well it's actually doing, and the fact that clean energy works. And when they get their houses burned up, this stuff's just going to take off even more.
I'm not trying to be a dick in the room, but like, not everyone's going to run out and grab their solar panel, put it on their back, and run home and install it on their house. I mean,
I agree.
Like, I agree. Like,
this is why we're
solar's a utility. There's utility scale solar, so utilities are installing nothing but solar. So if you're looking at the housing market, they're getting solar whether or not they go out and buy it or not.
Bro.
So, but isn't it true that isn't it true that the solar panels reflect heat back up and like cook birds and shit?
Is this copper top?
Yeah.
Yeah, solar panels do all kinds of crazy things.
And
I'll put some market data into the chat about how fast it's growing, how much of the market it currently already has, and how fast the price is dropping.
I'll tell you.
So the math won't lie.
All right.
So from there was a sales guy that came in, and he was talking to me on my porch about going solar, and then we went over the numbers. I mean, it seemed really interesting. He said I could save a ton of money. I'm like, why not? But when it came down to the price point, he wanted $30,000 to put solar panels. And so I told him, that's a little bit pricey. How much am I supposed to be saving every month? I'm hoping if what I'm saving every month is bigger than the solar payment you want me to make for this $30,000 solar panel on the roof.
Yeah, did you get the rebate? I mean, is that with the federal tax, 30% tax credit and all that? It comes out 30 at the end.
He was talking about the rebate that apparently the state pays me, and then I have to give that money back to him. Obviously, to pay for the 30,000 solar roof. And after that, it was basically saving $30, but putting myself in a $30,000.
That sounds really high, really high. So you want to go to energysage.com, and that'll show you a bunch of solar quotes in your area and what they come out to. Compare that quote. No, that's not a solar company. No.
Oh, but do you work?
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I don't.
It sounded kind of sales pitchy for a second.
It might be an industry site, but it shows you a bunch of quotes, a bunch of what recent projects are going for in your area, so you can compare. And then I'd get a bunch of quotes. Don't just have one guy come out. And there's a bunch of solar things that are not. There's a lot of scammers in solar because that's where the money is, right? So there are a lot of people that want you to lease panels and all this other kind of stuff. So you want to talk to some people that already have it, find out why they got it, if they like it, and get some quotes. And Energy Sage is a good portal to go and research it and find out what it's selling for around you.
Okay, I'll do that then.
I would say the main value in solar saving every month or per year, it's when there's a brownout or a blackout in the grid.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about. But when he started pulling like outlier events to justify the price point, I just couldn't.
Yeah, that's a little pricey. I mean, I put my own system together. I got a miner, an inverter, charge controller, all that stuff, and it was really cheap to do it on myself. But it's not like a massive system that power the whole house. I live a little frugally with it, but it works every day.
30 grand sounds like you might have got storage in that quote. Did you have storage, or is it just solar?
Yeah, that was with storage.
Oh, okay, that might not be so bad.
Yeah, the battery.
It depends on how much.
Well, but the thing is, the fact that I have to take somebody in the Northeast, right? This is the Northeast. I don't know if it's different pricing, depending on wherever you live. But in the Northeast, if your whole sales is, hey, you have to get a rebate from the state in order for the numbers to work, I just don't like that. I don't think anybody likes that.
Yeah,
so that's why I think sales would be going down.
What happens? One of the things that happens. So one of the things that happens sometimes when the government gives rebates, the suppliers raise their prices because you're getting free money, and they want to get that money from you. So the rebates sometimes cause the installers and the suppliers to raise their prices because they know that people are going to have money to spend. So that's also part of the calculus in the pricing. So right now, like for individuals, solar might be a little bit expensive to get into, but I think as more competition comes online, you're going to see the prices come down even more.
Yeah, and you might not need a battery depending on where you are. You might be able to get the panels for a lot less and just start saving a lot of money right away.
Yeah, eventually batteries are definitely the goal. 24 hours a day, and then if the grid goes down, then you're in luck.
Can I ask another question real quick?
Go ahead.
All right. To kind of go on the flip side of solar, from what I've been hearing and seeing, we're going to have some pretty wicked storms coming up, hurricanes. It's going to be a pretty strong season from everything that I've been seeing predicted. You never know how that works, but I'm asking y'all for some good ideas for some hurricane stocks. I already kind of have an idea, but also I see like inversing with solar, oil going up to $90, possibly $100 a barrel again. What do y'all think about that?
Generators are always a good bet during those times.
Yeah, Generac is a pretty popular play for hurricane season. Whenever there's a major hurricane, they tend to do well.
Do you guys see oil jumping up $20-$30 a barrel?
If a hurricane goes in the Gulf and knocks out the production and the refining of oil and gas in the Gulf of Mexico, and you'll probably see oil jump up just if you see a hurricane approach the Gulf of Mexico. And if one goes in there and knocks a bunch of stuff out, it'll go up.
All right. Cool. Any other place?
Markets.
Yeah, fucking Adobe stock, bro.
Let's see Adobe.
Yeah, I'll let you know how my calls go.
On NTDOY, generally they tend to bounce down once they hit 11, and they opened up at $11 today.
Who had calls? Right, you had calls?
No, I'm thinking of buying them today, but probably.
Who had calls on Adobe?
I've heard most people saying puts, but
Fuck the puts, dude. I mean, I've got like over 50K of shares. I'm holding that shit into earnings.
Oh, nice.
Just look at what the generative fucking Photoshop shit can do. That every single person is gonna have 12-inch dongs and fake boobs just because of Photoshop.
Well, we brought this up before. It's people think they're late to the game, and my argument was that they're very established and already in the hands of professionals. So we'll have to see if they want to use the what you just said for their.
Well, I mean, they can be as late to the game as they want to be, really, because the big money, the institutions, the older people, everybody that doesn't fucking trust crypto is going to trust Adobe with their AI needs as far as imaging goes. Like all the smaller AI companies that do images and stuff are never going to be adopted by large enterprise. They're going to go to Adobe.
Yeah, that was my my thesis as well. I just don't know if this particular earnings on Thursdays is where that we'll see that jump.
Right, but aren't they already with Adobe? I mean, those companies are already with Adobe. Like, we already.
Yeah,
like,
but Adobe's going to start charging them a subscription fee for these services.
And like I use,
so they're going to raise their prices. You're saying
it could be an add-on.
They're gonna charge a monthly subscription instead of a one and done fee, which is what everything's going to.
No, they already charge a monthly subscription. The Adobe Creative Suite, I've been paying a monthly subscription for that. I didn't buy the software. Like, it's not a one-time licensing.
Yeah, but for the rest of everybody else and other people that weren't already on a subscription, because there are versions of Adobe that don't need a subscription, they're switching all of it to subscription.
That's a similar model to what Autodesk is doing, and I use their products in my job. And like, you used to be able to get like a standalone license, but now it's mostly like you can only get a license for like the current 3 years. So like if 2024 version is out, you can only have a license for 22, 23, and 24. And the reason they do that is because it forces you to keep upgrading. So if you're working for a firm that has like the version 2021, and you won't be able to work with other teams if you don't subscribe to the new one. I'm not saying Adobe is going to do that model, but I'm just saying that's kind of where things are going.
I mean, that's where a lot of the stuff is going. Like, look at Diablo 4 that just came out. Great game, but it's got microtransactions in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Nintendo is probably the only company that isn't going to go to microtransactions.
Yeah, because Nintendo just charges $60 for their 10-year-old games and calls it even.
Right. Yeah, and then they do a remake of.
They charge you $70 if you want Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, that's fair. If you look at the mechanics in that game, I mean, it's easily going to win Game of the Year. The mechanics behind getting the ability to attach any item to any other item and have completely different reactions based on what it is, seamlessly, flawlessly, with no glitching, no drop of like massive drop of frame rates, and doing that shit on a Switch, which is basically weaker than an iPhone hardware wise. That, I mean, the software behind that, the engineers did a fantastic job.
Oh, you're right. Companies are going to be looking to replicate that. What's it called? Something hand or whatever it's called. That type of like mechanic. A lot of games are going to try to replicate the crap out of that. It's quite impressive.
Well, didn't Steam already try to successfully? I might say.
He's talking about the actual like move that you use in the game. I forget what it's called too, but it's fucked up because I play the game like daily and I don't even know what it's called.
Right? That's the gyro.
No, it's the one that lets you like grab stuff, and then you can glue it to other things. It's how people make like crazy cars and stuff, and they actually like don't fall apart in 2 seconds.
Oh, not only can they make crazy cars, they're making like flying attack drones, like laser cannons, fucking. And the stuff they do with the dicks, oh, fantastic. I love it.
It's called Ultra Hand, by the way. Thank you, chat. You came through in the clutch. But no, the physics behind it for a video game is incredibly impressive. That like it doesn't fall apart or break the entire world. So
yeah, while at the same time rendering a massive open world and doing it on something that has the power of an iPhone 14. That was just crazy.
The whole game is insane from a game design point of view because it's 3 game mechanics at once. So you got the building things, but also the ability to ascend through like any level playing field, up or down. I honestly don't know how Nintendo extracted this much power from a 10-year-old. It's not 10, but like 6 or 7-year-old tech. It really is impressive.
The last time I was that impressed about the sheer engineering behind it was on the first StarCraft game. Like StarCraft back in like 1996 by Blizzard. That thing ran as smoothly on a Pentium 1 MMX processor. I'm talking like 155 megahertz. Like one of the first home like mass-produced desktop. That thing ran as flawlessly on that as it did on a Intel i7. It was just some really solid engine.
While we're on the topic of Nintendo, I don't know if you guys saw, but Nintendo's talking about how due to the breakout success of the Super Mario Brothers movie earlier this year, they're planning on expanding into a number of other movies. It sounds like they're developing their own studios and whatnot too, but potentially Donkey Kong and a whole number of other franchises or trilogy series that they own, potentially Link and whatnot down the road. And that gives us add to potentially why to build a long position in them, if you think they're.
So, one thing I've always wondered, why is the Nintendo stock so like traditionally stable? Like it's not really susceptible to like ups or downs. Is it because it's a Japanese company whose main exchange is in Japan and not here? I don't know if anybody has any insight into that. I've just always noticed that the Nintendo stock price barely moves up or down that much.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. It is an extremely boring stock. I don't own any for that reason. I just like them. But for this, I mean, the same thing with like the movie deal. The Blizzard really shit the bed with that Warcraft movie. They picked the wrong damn game to release their first movie on. Diablo or StarCraft would have made a way better movie. But yeah, I hope Nintendo spins this shit off and gets their own deal going, like the whole Marvel universe. Because honestly, the Marvel universe is boring and dead at this point. They need to move on to something else.
Is anyone expecting the the courts in the UK to overturn the decision to, not give the green light for the acquisition for, Microsoft wanting to buy Activision. Because they were one of the few ones who said no. But as to my knowledge, last I heard, they were still in the process of battling out in the courts. I'm just wondering if anyone's expecting it to go through or not.
I'm expecting it to go through. I bought shares in Activision Blizzard. I think it'll go through, and ultimately it'll go through. UK just wants more money.
If we're talking about movies, I'm going to chime in, of course. Don't forget that, for example, Pixar is waiting now 90 days before they put their stuff on streaming. They didn't do that during the pandemic. They took a $600 million movie, put it right onto their stream. Well, they put it on the theater and put it a week later on their stream. So now companies are giving 90 in theaters first before stream. That could be a situation for the theaters themselves, a good thing.
Anyone worried about, Apple's VR Pro and all the other ones potentially threatening the movie theater space, kind of broadly speaking, within, the next 5 to 10 years? They're saying, at least for Apple's device in particular, that each eye will have more pixels than a 4K TV, and let alone all the other bells and whistles over the next couple of years that they're going to add to it to make it even better and more immersive. I just wonder if it's going to, make movie theaters even less appealing to.
Oh, they're heavy.
Not as long as VR.
I don't think anybody needs to the movie theaters for the quality of the movie. It's a social experience, which I don't know if that'll survive because people seem to get more introverted by the year.
Here's the thing. Devices are heavy on your face, and they're not comfortable to wear for a 90-minute or a 2-hour movie. You'll be tearing that thing off of your head so fast you won't even. It's not going to last.
Plus, not even just that. So, let's say conservatively, I'm kind of ballparking this for me, saying that if I go to the movie and I want to get something to eat, and because I live kind of far away, I'm factoring gas money. So if it's going to cost me a total of like $60 to see a movie, that means that to buy Apple's headset, I could go to the movie theater 58 times. Or I could just get an overpriced headset.
That and like the wife and I, we like to go to movies to get out of the house. Certain movies we definitely would go see it at the movie theater because we go have dinner. It's like a date. We still want to do that, and we need to get out of the house. We can't just stay in the house all the time. We like going to the movies.
VR's limitation will continue to be there is a significant portion of the population that gets incredibly nauseous when they use it. And I don't think Apple has solved that, so it's not going to replace movies as long as that exists.
That's right. That too, I forgot about that, the nauseous part.
You know what's weird about that? Like, I get nauseous, I get car sick if I sit anywhere in the car except for the driver's seat. Like, if I'm not driving, I get car sick immediately. But the VR headset doesn't bother me one bit.
I'm still amazed how the Apple technology on their headset, their own software, they say, is a lot like the beginnings and now of Magic Leap. MAGICLEAP. Interesting. They came out, years ago.
Hey, Brad, I have a quick question. Have you tried the MetaQuest Pro? I know you've spoken to the motion sickness before, and that was right after I tried the PlayStation VR 2 and got extremely sick after like half an hour. With the open sides on a MetaQuest, I was wondering if anyone with motion sickness has had any success with that.
I have a Quest 2. That's the only one that and the Rift are what I've tried, and both of them, I have to take Dramamine before I use it, or else it just bothers me. I don't know why. It comes out of nowhere.
Does the Dramamine work for you? I've never tried that.
Yeah, it does. You take it 15 minutes before you play, and then I'm good. But if I don't, I'll be fine, and then after 30, 40 minutes, I'll go from fine to incredibly sick out of nowhere. It doesn't even give you a warning. It's crazy.
Fair. Okay, thanks.
Anyone have any thoughts on Palantir, the SaaS software company / a little bit of AI? Located in Denver. They've been around for about 20 years or so. Alex Karp is the CEO. Peter Thiel is the chairman. Over the last month and a half or a couple months or so, there's been a significant run up in the stock price, but there's been a whole bunch of significant contracts announced over the last couple weeks, in addition to, but in the CEO's words, near unprecedented levels of demand for their software, both with relation to the U.S. military, which seems to be integrating it more and more as time goes on, and in multiple of the branches in a number of different ways, but also with a number of, S&P 500 names. Just curious if anyone has, especially if there's any bears out there who have a strong opinion. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Or just thoughts in general.
Here, I'm happy to sit on it and just wait for it to go up. They're saying that they're going to have positive earnings from here on out, so I'm willing to give them a shot.
Yeah, that was one of the other main reasons I was thinking about building a long position, is due to what you were saying about the expected profitability for each quarter for the rest of the year, but also within maybe the next year or two, a possible S&P 500 inclusion. I mean, it's certainly not certainly no guarantee yet, but it kind of would make sense for the S&P wanting to diversify at least a little into a few of the other credible and established names besides for Microsoft, who are, I don't want to say focusing too much on the AI aspect because that's not 100% of it. But yeah, no, I kind of agree.
Looks like Target's dipping down a little.
Hey, have any of you guys been to the FedNow website?
No.
Hell no.
Why do you ask? Need help?
Well, it's up and running, and it's not a matter of, this isn't a doom and gloom statement, but it's not a matter of if, it's just literally when they're going to roll out the CBDC. So they got all the steps in placement.
It's just
Well,
gonna.
say in the summer they're gonna roll it out.
Yeah, a lot of people don't think it's going to happen. But in order for, I think, a successful rollout, there's probably, with every problem, they have to manufacture a solution. So I think the solution is obviously going to be the CBDC, but, there's going to be a big blow up, which is already kind of happening with BRICS, every nation under the sun now kind of joining up with them to include Saudi Arabia. It's an interesting time for the U.S. dollar.
I'm going to talk about my favorite new holdings. Their first month in Mexico, 1 million people signed on. So I still love my new.
Anyone want to talk about Hasbro and the stupid stuff they're doing that's going to wind up making them probably a ton of money, because of course it will?
Let's hear it.
Well, screw it. I'm gonna do it anyway. So Hasbro, I'm actually kind of bullish on their going forward because they have a Lord of the Rings set coming out for Magic the Gathering, which is already going to be popular because it's Magic the Gathering and Lord of the Rings. And then they're also printing a special edition only available in super premium $40 packs. Yes, $40 for a pack of cards. One ring written in special Mordor script that already has a $1 million standing offer on it for whoever opens this one copy of this ring. Which means they've now taken their already gambling-based thing and added in a gambling payout. People are going to buy so much stupid amounts of this product to try to pull that one ring, and it's only in their premium $40 packs. They're going to make stupid money off of this until that thing is opened. It's going to be crazy for them. And that's why I feel good about Hasbro, because people are just going to keep opening packs trying to be the one nerd who gets the $1 million card that they can sell. No NFT comes with it. Oh, no, there's no like authenticator NFT. It's just the ring, and Wizards will confirm if you have the real one. I don't know what they do with their card printings, but they have ways to tell what's real and what's fake. Oh, knowing them, they'll probably also know what state it went to and everything, so that they can confirm if it even got opened in the right place. So it makes me bullish on Hasbro. I would probably pick some up and hold for a while, because it's not going to be reflected in earnings for a while, but they're probably going to make very large amounts of money off of this. And that's my Hasbro play, so there. Yay. And as Chad is pointing out, yes, it's very much the Willy Wonka golden ticket.
I think the last time I played Hasbro was, for me, 30 years ago. It'll be fun playing it again. The stock, I mean. Thanks.
So the set releases on June 26th, so that'll be the first opportunity people have to open it. I will not be shocked if, because they're going to be monitoring that one card, because of course they are. They need to be aware of it and where it's going and stuff. I won't be shocked if they don't wait a month or two to actually put it in something even openable, let alone the time it takes someone to buy the right pack and open it. They're going to milk this one out for a little bit. And good for them, you know? Go ahead, why not? If the nerd's going to buy it, make the money off of it, right? Oh, by the way, little factoid, after running some very basic math, you have a slightly better chance of winning the Powerball than you do of pulling that one card if you go on a cost-by-cost basis. So there's that too.
A person can dream, can't they?
Yep, dream away, but a Powerball ticket is $2, and those packs are $40. So your money is better spent on the $2 Powerball ticket, interestingly enough.
Correct.
However, the flip side is you can't be the nerd who says that they have the one true ring that is officially endorsed for Lord of the Rings, right? So there's that. You don't get that off a Powerball ticket.
Yeah, and I would never sell for a long time.
Well, so the other interesting thing, whoever opens it is probably going to brag that they have it. And if they open it in the US, the IRS has this really cool thing where they will pre-tax you on what an item is worth. Ask any of those people who have caught like a record-breaking home run baseball that have been forced to sell it early because the IRS said, "Oh, that's $1 million baseball. You owe us $1 million of taxes off of that ball. So either sell it or find the money if you want to keep it." So they're still probably gonna be forced to sell it because God bless the Internal Revenue Service, right?
Wow, that's interesting. I never thought of it that way.
Keep it secret, keep it safe.
I think the coolest kid is going to be the one who just calls up New Zealand and asks for a free plane ride to Volcano so they can just throw the card in there and call it a day.
Good one.
Yeah, if he was a social influencer, grande.
That'll be the ultimate temptation, right? Can you destroy the One Ring and lose $1 million? Or is it too precious?
He'll make more on views if he monetizes the film, the upload, sorry.
Also, just a little tinfoil hat on about this thing. I'm fully convinced they don't just know where it's going, they're going to like have a major event to have it opened so that it can be caught on camera and everything, and be like, what a coincidence that this was seen live. Wow, our game is so cool. That's my little tinfoil hat moment. I think they're gonna milk everything out of this.
That could be because I worked many of our quote-unquote reality shows, and there's no such thing as reality shows. Everything is scripted in the beginning, producers at a table, how to act, what to say, or take it over and over again, no matter if it's a tow company or the Kardashians. So that could be.